like I said, if you haven't done so, now is a good time to install a VirtualBox on your system and to download the VM, the link to which was posted on Canvas. Let me bring that back up so I can show you where it is. Okay, it's in modules and in useful links. So that's the link. Okay, so yeah, so basically that's the idea. So and if you have issues with VirtualBox, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, like that's fine, Kurt. Yeah. If you want to, we can meet sometime, and I can help you with that issue. See if we can resolve that. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and let's take a break. So let's say it's 8:37 right now. So I guess we can take roughly a 10-minute break, but let's round it off. This is my sort of apology to you for going over the break. So let's meet at, let's see, 8:53, okay? So I'm giving you 3 extra minutes, okay? All right, great. And the password for the zip file is CPC 548, okay? CPC 548, okay? CPC 458, I'm sorry, yeah, like that. All right, so I will see you after the break. Go ahead and take a break. Start recording. All right. Yeah, so basically, like I said, what you're going to do is, okay, let me repeat that again. So you're going to start VirtualBox, okay? And I'm going to delete the VM that I just created so we can do this over. So, and you're going to go to File, Import Appliance, then you're going to click on this yellow thing, and then you're going to go to the place where you have downloaded your VM. It should be an OVA file. So I downloaded my VM into the desktop. Yours may be at a different place. And then you're going to click Next. And you're going to see a page which shows you the configuration of your VM. You can leave it for now the way it is. We can change it later. And this is the path where you're going to be storing your VM. If you want to change the path, that's fine. You can just click right here and go to Other. Okay, and any location is generally fine. And then you're going to click Import. So it'll take a few moments for the VM to finish importing. And once the importing is done, you will see the VM show up on your left-hand panel. Okay? It's almost done. All right. So the next thing which you're going to do is you're going to right-click on it and go to Settings. And it should give you a dialog box that looks like this. Now, if you want to adjust things like the memory, you would click on the system. And then right here, you'll see a little slider called Base Memory. Typically, Windows XP doesn't need that much memory. Okay? I gave it a 1 gig of memory, which is 1024 megabytes. But if you want to give it more, if your computer has more memory, that's perfectly fine. All right? But I think it should be fine at 1 gig. Another thing which you should look at is you should click on Network and make sure that Enable Network Adapter is checked and that the Attached To is set to Net. This is important because if you don't do that, if you choose, for example, Bridged, then your VM will automatically be treated as one of the systems on your local network, okay? And you don't want that because then other systems will be able to access it. And the NAT option basically sort of puts it on its own network, okay? So now, and the next thing which you want to do is you see the cable connect box. You want to make sure that it's unchecked, okay? Because we don't want our VM to be connecting to the network, okay? Not by default, okay? So make sure that this box is left unchecked, all right? This is a safety thing, because we don't want Windows XP to be connected to the network unless we're actually doing something, okay? So, and just asking, we'll be talking more about getting internet working. Mine isn't able to connect after setting to net. If your internet isn't working, that's a good thing for now, okay? So, yeah. And if we need to get it working, we'll definitely talk about that. But with those settings, which I just described, your internet should not be working, okay? So, yeah, and you can ignore the invalid setting. Basically, it's complaining about not enough video memory. If you want to get rid of that, you can. You can just go to display and just increase the amount of video memory. So I think it wants 20. So like if I give it 22, it'll go away. So you can definitely do that. So like I said, go to display and then just increase the amount of video memory. I think to at least 20, but it's not a big deal. Okay, but this will get rid of that warning. All right, and then you click OK. So once you do all of that, your VM should now be ready to go. So to start this VM, you're going to click on Start. All right, and if you get a warning like this, that's perfectly fine. Just click OK. And you should get a booting screen which looks something like this. Okay? Ah, that satisfying sound that Windows XP makes once it booted. Yeah, there we go. You've heard that, right? Yeah, it sounded like the creepypasta version of Windows XP. Yeah. So, yeah, by the way, if you're looking to get more memory in the video, feel free to do that. Just give it as much memory as it wants to get rid of the warning. That's fine. So, did any of you get this? Is everyone at least this far? Yep. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, great. Great. And folks, you should get something which looks like this. Now, you should make sure that your internet connection is not active. So if you see that your internet isn't working, it means you've done everything right. If you see that it's working, please immediately disconnect it. You can still do that if you go to Devices, Network Settings, and Advanced, and then uncheck the cable connected. Okay. Now, there are a lot of different tools here, and as the course progresses, we will learn how to make use of those tools, right? So you're probably still fascinated about the nostalgia, right? I think most of you should be old enough to remember Windows XP. Now, why are we using Windows XP? And there are two reasons. One is Windows XP is an old system that is vulnerable to basically every single thing under the sun. And number two, the book which we're using, it's based on Windows XP, and it's one of the best, if not the best book in malware analysis. So now, before we go on and start playing with malware, there is one more thing which I would like to do. Let's set up our VM so we can safely move malware between the host and the VM. So to do that, we will need to do the following. So do you see the little blue folder right here in your VM? What you want to do is you want to right-click on it and go to Shared Folder Settings. Okay, so once again, click on the blue folder right here and go to Shared Folder Settings. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up what's called a shared folder. A shared folder is a directory on your host system that will be shared with your VM. So once you get a dialog that looks like this, what you're going to do is you will look under machine folders, and if you see anything under that, you're going to delete it. So just click on it and click the little delete button right here. So there should be nothing underneath your folder. Okay, the whole thing just should be empty. Okay. So did everybody get that so far?
Is that a safety measure, or could we keep one in case we want to be able to transfer files between?
Basically, there might be some default paths left over, so from previous configuration. So for now, you want to delete it. We're going to create our own folder.
Got it. I already created one. That's why I was curious.
Okay, great, great, yeah. So, and then for the time being, what you're going to do is you're going to go onto your host system, like just open a file manager on your host system, and basically wherever you want, you can create a folder which you will be sharing with your VM. So I have already created a folder called Windows XP. Okay? So what you're going to be doing is, and some of you have already done that, good work. So once you have created that folder, you're going to go back to this dialog in the VM, and you're going to click the little plus button. Okay? And in the dialog that appears, you're going to click the drop-down menu, and you're going to choose Other. And what you're going to do is, in this file browser, you're going to browse and locate the folder on your host that you have created. So I called mine Windows XP, so that's the one which I'll choose. So I'll just click on it, and I'll click Choose. So now, before you do anything else, please make sure that you check two things. First, check auto mount, and also check make permanent. Okay, this will make sure that your settings will be saved when your VM is rebooted. All right. So, did everybody get that? Yeah. Okay, great. And now we're going to click OK, and you should see this new folder show up right here. And then you're going to click OK. Okay, so somebody wants me to repeat something. Okay, so which part should I repeat? Yeah, so basically on the host system, we made a shared folder. So I create a folder called Windows XP on my desktop. And then in the shared folder settings, I went to shared folder settings. So just right click on a blue folder, go to shared folder settings, and then click Add. On the drop down menu, click Other, browse to your folder, choose it, and then check auto mount and make permanent, and then click OK. It's not allowing me to click OK because I already added that folder, but it should work for you. Okay? Does that make sense? Sure. All right. So, and I'm going to click OK to leave this dialog. Now, in theory, it should all be working already, but just to make sure that nothing is weird, I suggest we reboot our VM. So we can just go to Start, turn off computer, and click Restart. And then we're going to wait. It gave a warning, yeah. So, and we're going to restart the VM. Yeah, I know, the nostalgia, yep. I actually used to have much better speakers, but they have turned into somebody's drug money. Sorry, got carried away there. So, yeah, so basically, somebody, while I was out, somebody burglarized my house and took all of my electronics, most of my clothes, and a lot of other stuff. So, yeah. So now, how do we know that your folder is working? So what you're going to do is you can basically just start a file browser. So just click on Start, and basically you can click My Documents. That's one way, or you can go to My Computer. Let's go to My Computer. Okay. And if you click on My Computer right here, you should see under Network Drives, you should see a drive that is called, in my case, it's called Windows XP, because that's what I named my folder on the host. And when I click on it, I will be able to see the contents of that folder. Okay? So that's basically the idea. Now, if I go to my folder on Windows, sorry, if I go onto my folder in the host, Windows XP, so in there, I have already put the sample malware files, and as you can see, I can see them right here. Okay? So, did everybody get that part working? No? Okay. So, what's the problems which you folks are having? Okay, so Ray says that the VM saying I have a low battery. This is desktop. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine because yeah, VM has access to the desktop battery settings. So I think it's just probably reflecting whatever your desktop is saying, and it may be wrong. Okay. So yeah. So if you don't see anything inside of the folder, that's fine. I mean, it probably means you haven't added anything to it. So as long as it appears right here, it means it's working. Now I have already put some files into my folder. That's why you can see it. Okay. So right now the VM is clean and no malware on it. Yep. So now let's see. And I think let's see. Were there any other questions? So Lauren, were you able to get yours working? Oh, okay, Lauren just joined. Okay, so we will wait. Okay, yeah. So there is an MS-DOS war in my documents. Yep. We'll get to it. Yeah, we'll get to it. So now the next thing which we're going to do is there is no password for the VM. The next thing which we're going to do is we're going to put the practice malware samples which we'll be using into our shared folder. So to do that, you're going to go to Canvas. Where is Canvas? And you're going to download the malware sample files. Canvas, where have you gone? Okay, so you're going to go into Canvas modules, and you're going to click on basic technique samples. Okay, so and if you get this kind of pop-up alert, just say allow pop-ups. It's just a browser thing. Okay. Yep, it's on Dropbox, but it's okay because it's encrypted. So, and you're going to download it. So you will click on this folder. Let's see. How do you connect tabs, open, extract all. How do you download it? Let's see. So yeah, my Dropbox is saying that it's trying to download it. Let's see. Oh, I think show Dropbox, connect to apps. Let's do open. Extract all. Of course, it will extract. I want to download it though. Oh, you have a download button at the top right. Yeah, I don't have it. Yeah, maybe it's right. Oh, there we go. Mine was hidden. There it is. Clever Dropbox, very clever. Now, so what you want to do is you want to download it, but you don't really want to open it yet. So what you're going to do is you'll take your downloaded file, and then you're going to drag it into your shared folder. So I already have it in there, so I'm going to delete it. So I'm going to take my downloaded file, and I'm going to drag it into my shared folder. Okay? Just like that. No. Don't download it through your VM. Download it through your host. Yeah, definitely download it through your host. Don't do it through the VM. Okay? Not safe. Okay? So now, the next thing which you're going to do is you're going to go into your VM. So, right. Yep, we shouldn't have a connection. Yep. And you're going to click on Windows XP, or that's the name of my folder. Yours might be different. And now you can see it right here. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to right-click on it, and you're going to go to 7-zip, and you're going to choose extract files. And you can just extract it in the same folder, that's fine, and you're going to click OK. Now, it's going to ask you for a password because this is an encrypted archive. So to do that, you're going to give it the password, and the password is CPC458. So I'm going to type it again. So CPC458, and I'm going to click Show Password so you can all see CPC458. And I'm going to click OK. And if everything worked out, you should see a folder like this. If you don't see it, try pressing Ctrl-R to refresh the view. Okay. So yeah. So now here is what you do now. If some of you are getting an error saying that the Windows Defender is freaking out, here's what you do. So basically, delete the thing which you just extracted, and then repeat the process. So go to 7-zip, extract files, and then instead of choosing the default location, choose some location on your VM. So basically, I'm just going to click the 3 dots, and I can put it on my desktop. And I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to click OK again, and I give it the password again, 458. Okay, and somewhere on my desktop, I should now see the basic analysis folder. Okay, now, and it actually makes sense that your antivirus is freaking out when you extract it to the same location, because what ends up happening, right? This is a shared folder, so when you extract it, right, there is basically, it also appears on your host system, and your antivirus is doing its job and basically saying, hey, there is malware there, and it kills it. By the way, that's the reason why those zip files are password protected. They're encrypted. The reason why they're encrypted is so your antivirus cannot detect them. So you can download them on your host and then move them into your VM and then safely extract them there. So basically, this achieves 2 things. It protects your system from accidentally, running those malwares, and number 2, it keeps the malware from being immediately killed by your antivirus. Okay, so is everybody good? Yeah. Are we good? All right. So things will get exciting pretty soon. All right. Now, there is another little thing which I would like to teach you folks about the VM, which will come really in handy with malware analysis in general. So as you do malware analysis, you will realize that you will end up doing things that lead you nowhere, like I said. So for example, let's say that I run malware once, and then I run it again, but the next time around, it has a different behavior. Okay, this is because malware may have altered the function of the operating system the first time around, so it's not going to be doing that thing the second time around. So what do you do in such cases? How do you replay that behavior? So before you start your malware analysis, or whenever you get to an interesting point, what I suggest you do is you would create what's called a snapshot of your VM. A snapshot of your VM is basically sort of like a backup of your current VM state, which you can restore at any point in time. And this will restore everything. It'll restore the state of your disk. It'll restore the state of your RAM. So in other words, your system will be exactly as it was when you took the snapshot. And you can do it as many times as you want. And oh my God, is this a useful function in malware analysis? Because you will end up restoring the point every time. Okay, many, many times. So once you have set everything up, I suggest you create a clean snapshot of your VM by going to Machine and take Snapshot. Okay, so once again, Machine, take Snapshot. So I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to give it a some kind of a name. So basically, I'll call it, for example, initial clean state. Okay, and I will click OK. So my VM may freeze for a few moments, and the snapshot was now created. Okay, and Joseph has a question. Yep, go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, I wanted to know how to get the tab bar on top that you have file, machine, view, input, devices up, because I've been trying for like the last 20 minutes and I can't get it to show.
Oh, yeah. So another way to do it is if you bring up your VirtualBox console like this, right? The main console, and you can right-click on it, and you can choose settings, and you should be able to do it from there as well.
Which one would it be? Is it the export to OCI?
I know settings.
Yes.
Yeah, and the most settings you'll be able to adjust from here. So, and another way to do it is if you try pressing a right control and home. So right control key and home key. Yep. Did that work?
No, but I'll keep looking.
Yeah. So like another way to do it is if you go to preferences, because maybe your settings are slightly different, and you go to preferences, and then you can go to input, and you click on virtual machine, and is your host key right control? Is it set
Yes,
to right?
It is.
Okay, so, and then you want to scroll down, and let's see. Try pressing Control F again, because maybe you're running in the full screen mode.
Yeah, it asked me if I want to switch to full screen mode.
Oh, I see. So basically, it's just not showing up. What operating system are you running? Are you running Windows?
Yes.
But it's just not showing up, huh?
Yeah, it's not showing up. I've had this issue for a while now because I've taken quite a few classes with the virtual machines, but it never comes up.
I say, yeah, if you want to, we can take a look at it either after class or in the office hours. But if you want to take a snapshot, there is another way to do it. So you can do this. You can select the VM, and then you can go to machine, and there should be take snapshot somewhere over here.
Yep, it's in tools. I see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, got it. So tools and yeah, snapshots, and then take snapshot. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll talk about loading the snapshots in a second. Yeah. Oh, and thank you, Ryan, for posting that. Yeah. So now, so let's say that I did some stuff on my VM. Let's say that I ran malware, and oh my God, malware has deleted everything. Like it has deleted everything. And let's say that it, and to add insult to injury, let's say that it left me an offensive message. Okay, so now let's say that I ran the malware and that's what happened. So I want to go back to the snapshot that I took before the malware has screwed everything up. So how would I do that? So there are different ways of doing that. If you just want to go back to the previous snapshot, you can just do this. You can go to File, Close, and then you can choose Power Off, and you should see a checkbox right here which says Restore current snapshot to the initial clean state. And this will restore your VM to the latest snapshot that you have made. And you just click OK. So your VM is going to be shut down, and it's going to be restored to this snapshot. And I will now restart the VM by clicking Start. And, whoa, that was dramatic. And you can see what happened now, right? My VM was completely restored to its previous state. All of the icons are back, the insulting message is gone, and even this file manager window is now open exactly as it was at the time when I took the snapshot. Make sense? Now, let's say that you took multiple snapshots, and that's possible to do, and let's say that you want to go back to some other snapshot. So let's say that I'm about to run malware and I have set up my environment. So I have deployed some applications here, and we will be learning what those do soon enough. So let's say that I have set up my environment and I'm about to run malware. So I want to basically sort of create a snapshot of the system in the state, so I can just roll back to this one right before I run it, so I won't have to redo my environment every time. So I can go to Machine, take Snapshot, and I can call it, for example, right before running the malware, for example. And I will click OK. And once again, it'll freeze for a little bit. And now the snapshot has been taken. Now, so let me just kill my VM. Now, as you can see, there are now two snapshots. So there is the right before running malware state, and there is an earlier state called the initial clean state. And I can roll back the VM to any of those states by selecting the state that I want, okay, like this one, for example, right before running malware, and I can click Restore, which will restore my VM to that state. Or I can select initial clean state, which will restore my VM if I click Restore to that state. So the point is, you can roll back your VM to any state that you want and to any state that you need. Now, let's say that I'm done and I don't need the state anymore. You can delete it. And it's a good idea to delete the states that you no longer need, because the way in which this snapshot mechanism works is that the snapshot will keep growing and growing in size. Okay? So to delete a snapshot, you would right-click and just choose Delete. And it'll ask you, are you sure you want to do that? And if you are sure, you would click Delete. And snapshot be gone. All right? So are we good? So questions? Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So Mohammed is asking, once I extract, should I delete? You mean, should you delete the original zip file in your folder? Yeah. I mean, you probably don't need it anymore, unless you want to keep a copy there for later. So yeah, that's fine. So, and let's see, and Carla is asking, how do I open the snapshot? So open the snapshot. You mean like, how do you restore? So we just talked about that. So to restore, there are many ways of doing that. You just select the state, and so basically first you would choose the VM, and then you would go to snapshot, and then you would choose the state which you want to restore. You would right click on it. So, I'm sorry, not right click, left click on it, and then you would choose restore, and it'll restore your VM. Okay, and if you have multiple snapshots, you will have basically more than just one. Like I have just one right now because I have deleted the other one, but you would just select that snapshot and then you would click restore. Okay, are we good? Yeah, and I think Lauren, you had a few issues there. Were you able to get things working? I just noticed your post recently. My apologies about that. So the VM is still having issues. Oh, it's stuck. Okay. Okay, thank you, Joseph. Yeah, and yeah, we can definitely take a look at that either after class or during office hours. Yeah. So in the meantime, you can try to follow along. All right. So and Aiden's saying I'm also having issues. BSD or super slow. Let's say BSD. What's BSD in this case? The VM is running too slowly. Oh, blue screen of death. Huh, that's interesting. Are you running on Windows as well?
Yes, I am.
Huh, weird. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of strange. Yeah. Okay, yeah, we can take a look at that as well. Yeah. So, yeah, if if some people can get the VM running in their systems, we can always find other solutions. Like, for example, we can allow you to rent laptops, or we can try to set up a server, where you can access Windows VM through remote desktop. So you won't be left behind. Okay. So just let me know, how you're doing, and we'll figure something out. Okay. So in the meantime, you can try following along, or if you are, so we'll make sure that you're not left behind. Yeah, that's one of the things with teaching hands-on classes like that, because different people have different systems, and usually a few people will have a few problems. So, yeah. Yeah, so one thing which you folks can try, those of you who are having trouble, try deleting your VM. So to delete your VM, just go to, right-click on it, and go to remove, and select delete files, so the entire thing is wiped out, and then try basically repeating the whole import process and see if that fixes the issue. Okay. I've seen cases where that helps. Okay. So you can try to do that. All right. So are we ready to do some malware analysis, or at least some basic malware analysis? So we have just done all of this basic stuff which I have described in the slides. Now let's go through some malware analysis basics. So there are two types of malware analysis. One is called the static analysis, and the other one is called dynamic analysis. The static analysis is when we study the malware without actually running it. So in other words, we'll look at the malware file, we'll study things about it, like, for example, when it was created, is the file packed, which is basically a technique used for thwarting detection through encryption or compression. We will try to see, does the file contain any interesting identifiers that can give us hints about what this malware is all about. Eventually, when we do advanced static analysis, we'll actually disassemble the binary, and we will study its assembly code. The other kind of malware analysis type is called the dynamic analysis. So the dynamic analysis means we're going to run the malware and we will observe its behavior. So basically, static is everything we will study about the malware without actually running it. And dynamic, we're going to run malware and study its behavior. It turns out that you actually need both of those, okay? Because each one has its advantages and limitations, and in practice, you need both of those, okay? So, any questions about static versus dynamic? We're good? All right, great. So now, the next thing which we're going to do is we're going to study some basic malware analysis techniques. Basically, those are very simple but very fruitful things which you can do before you dive into the hardcore malware analysis stuff. Basically, you're going to grab some low-hanging fruits which will arm you in your battle to help reverse engineer the functionality of malware. So we'll be first talking about using the antivirus tools to confirm maliciousness. We will be using hashes to identify malware, and we're going to dump the strings inside the file, and we will study the file headers in order to glean some information about what this file actually is. So let's go right into it. The first step of basic malware analysis would generally be, so we just got ourselves a binary sample. This sample is probably malware. So what is the first thing we should do before we jump into malware analysis? A very important question to ask yourself is this a new kind of malware? Has anybody seen it before? Because if other people have seen it before, we can probably save ourselves a lot of analysis effort. Okay? So how do we know if people have actually seen this malware before? Well, folks, there is something called an antivirus. If other people have previously seen this, they probably developed signatures from this, and we should run an antivirus and see if it detects it. So how can we do that? Because different antiviruses have different detection schemes, and different antiviruses have different advantages and disadvantages. So some antiviruses use signatures, some use the heuristics, which are basically behavioral analysis. Most use both. So what if you could easily scan a single malware sample using like 100 different antivirus programs? Well, folks, behold, such thing exists. And it's extremely easy to use. That thing is called VirusTotal. Okay? VirusTotal is an engine that is being ran by Google, which allows you to submit a binary file and have it be scanned by hundreds of different antiviruses. So this is exactly what we're going to do right now. Okay, so pull up your VMs, and if you didn't get your VM working, and we'll talk about that later, but what you can do is you can take the program called, where'd my VM go? Oh, I terminated my VM. Let me restart my VM. You're going to take a program called CPAC 458 Lover, which is bundled in that package which I gave you. And I'm going to pull it up in a second. Alert. Sorry, got too much into it again. So what you're going to do is you're going to, never gets old, right? So you're going to go to your shared folder, which, by the way, you can easily access through any drop-down menu in the file manager, deep right Windows. And I'm going to extract it again. So 7-zip, extract files, and I'm going to extract it onto the desktop again. So I'm going to choose desktop, and I'm going to enter the password of CPC458, and I'm going to click OK. So there we go. It was extracted. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the basic analysis techniques folder, and I'm going to go into exercises. And I'm going to go into exercise 1, and there's a program in there called CPAC 458 Lover. Now, folks, if you didn't get to your VM to work, that's okay. I promise this one should not harm your system. So what you can do is you can actually put this into your shared folder, and then on your host system, you can upload it to VirusTotal. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to open up a browser, and I'm going to navigate to www.virustotal.com. And you should see a website which looks something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my file manager, and I'm going to go to my shared folder on the host, and I'm going to take CPAC 458 Lover, and I will carefully click on it. Please don't run it. And I'm going to drag it into this field right here. Okay? All right? Make sense? Okay. So if you folks can follow along, That'd be great. Is everyone following along as much as they can? Yeah? Okay. Awesome. So once I drag it in, it'll automatically refresh. So what do I see right here? Okay. So what I see is the scanning result of many different antivirus engines. So basically, none of them have detected it as a malicious program. Okay? Yes, we are using a host machine for now, just for this one. And the only reason why I'm doing it is because a few people weren't able to get their VMs working yet. And this program is basically harmless. So we'll find out later what it does, but it is harmless. So that's why I'm doing it on the host. So the people who don't have their VM running, we can use that. Okay? Make sense? So now, there is a tab right here called Details, which gives us some information about this malware. So first of all, there is history. It says that it was created on this date. So the timestamp in this file is this. The first time when the VirusTotal engine seen this binary file was also last year on the 9th. Yes, folks, basically, here is the thing. Whenever you submit a malware sample to VirusTotal, it actually remembers it forever, okay? And whenever somebody submits the same file again, it'll say, oh, I've seen this before, okay? And we can also see some interesting information of this right here. You see MD5, SHA-256, and vhash. Those are the hashes. Actually, all of those, they are the hashes of this file computed using different hashing algorithms. We have in this class, we've already seen SHA-256. Okay. It also tells me that the type of this file. Sorry about that. It also says that the type of this file is Windows executable. Okay. It also says that it looks like it's a Windows console application designed for a 32-bit system. It says that it looks like it was compiled by Microsoft Visual C++. There is a 43% chance match for that. It gives us some information about the libraries which it uses, and it even gives us some information about the compiler. Okay? And the compiler is dev-c++ bloodshed software. Ooh, sinister. Okay, so it also gives us some information about the file headers. For now, it may all look like gibberish to you, but later on, we're going to learn what all of those things actually mean. And it even gives you a bit of a behavioral analysis. So it basically tells me what registry entries it has opened while it was running. It tells us about what mutexes it has created, and we'll talk about what those are a little later, though you should have some idea from your operating systems class. And even there is the community discussion where people who have seen this before, they can discuss this. All right, folks? And I think, we have reached our end of class time. So this is the starting point. So what I'll do is I'm going to put up a little quiz which will get you started on some of the malware analysis basics. You will learn more about ransomware from pros. You will also learn, a little more on how to use VirusTotal, and there's going to be a little bit in setting up your VM. All right. So if you folks want to go, you can definitely go, and I'm going to stick around and answer any questions which you may have. All right. And oh, Joseph, I'm so sorry. I haven't noticed you had your hand up. Go right ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I didn't even realize I had my hand up. I think I just left it there. But do you want to just talk about it later? I was just curious about the toolbar. Any ideas what you were thinking about it?
Sure. Yeah. We can take a look at the toolbar. Yeah. You're talking about the thing at the top, right? With machine view and things like that.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that. Yeah. Okay. And you said you're on Windows too, right? Oh,
Yep.
I think I have some idea.
All right, what is it?
I think you might be running in the scaled mode.
I am in scaled mode, yes.
I think that's part of it. So, so if you can go back to the regular mode.
Do you know how?
Yeah, yeah. Typically, it would be right control key, and to basically just put your mouse inside the VM, like just click inside the VM, and then press right control and C.
Let me go to my screen.
Okay. I think the scale mode is definitely part of the issue. Okay. Okay. Okay, so what is it saying? You have click mouse in virtual display. Yeah, yep, you want to do capture. Okay, and now do hold, a right control C.
Control C.
Right control C.
Got it.
There you go.
Cool. And then it's scaling. For some reason before it wouldn't scale, so that's why I was doing the scaling thing.
Yeah, like so what you want to do in such cases? So if you go to your VM, where it says XP at the bottom.
XP?
Yeah, just bring up your VM.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, yeah. So basically, if it's not full screening for you, what you can do is you can go to View, and then basically make sure that auto size gets displays checked, and then you click on Adjust Window Size right above it. Yeah, yeah, and then you would basically just maximize your VM, and in most cases that should fix the problem.
Okay,
So,
cool.
Yeah. I didn't think of the scale mode before, but once I saw your VM and I saw the resolution right away, I saw it was the scaled mode, and I said, that explains it, because in scaled mode it actually removes that. It also has something called what do you call it? You're trying to remember. Not the seamless mode, and the seamless mode sort of tries to integrate Windows applications into your. It tries to integrate your guest applications into the taskbar of your host. I used to be impressed by that, but now, not anymore.
And it seems like the quality has gone up as well on the graphics.
Absolutely, yeah, because you see, when you have it in this mode, the VirtualBox extensions, it's like a software that is installed inside this VM. It talks to your host to try to figure out the optimal way to do the graphics. But when you do in scale mode, it basically takes whatever is the default output given by your VM and just sort of stretches it out to fit your screen, completely ignoring the aspect ratio and all of that stuff. So,
got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for making you wait for so long. I'm so sorry. I get distracted.
No, you're fine. I was listening to, so I was going to help Lauren anyway tonight.
Oh, nice. Yeah, thanks. Oh, and I think Lauren is back, by the way. Yeah. If you guys, learn a trick that I haven't thought of yet, just feel free to share. And like I said, in the meantime, I will also ask Hernan to make the backup server so people who are having trouble will not be held up by that.
Yeah, I accidentally messaged him because I didn't realize that you were referring to him. I messaged him about the question earlier too, hoping he was online.
Perfect. Yeah. Hernan is actually the network admin for this class. Well, for the entire department, and he's actually the guy who helped me create this VM at one point. So, so he would he knows a lot of this stuff without his head, because all he does is fix those annoying things all day. So he probably has a ready solution. So, yeah. And Lauren, how are you? Oh, what did I do with my chat? There it is. Okay. So, if I need to get a laptop from school, I can do, can I do the approval? Oh, sure. Yeah. So, definitely, Lauren. Yeah. If you want to get a laptop from the school, just go to the Student Genius corner. That's where they lend laptops, and then ask the geniuses that you want to get a laptop, and and they will send me the email, and as soon as I see it, I'll approve it right away. Promise. Pinky promise. All right. Yeah. So no, I want to make sure that we get everyone on board. So yeah. So all right. We'll get you working, Lauren. Don't worry. We got your back. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sure that we'll have you working within like a day or two. Okay. Okay. Oh, you also installed Docker? Okay. It doesn't allow VMs to work. Yeah, Docker is using a different VM format. So, but yeah, in theory, Docker could work if you create a Windows XP Docker VM. So, yeah. So, yeah. And also another way to try it, if VirtualBox is a no-go for you, you can try VMware, possibly. And we can get an ISO image from Hernan. So you could make your own Windows XP VM. That might work. So there are so many solutions, okay? Yeah, but if you want to go the school laptop route, we can definitely accommodate that. Okay, so yeah, so speak to the Student Genius Corner. You have their email, right? I can get you the link right now. 1 second. Yeah, let me get you the link just to make sure, and maybe other people want it. So yeah, this is the Student Genius Corner. So this is where you can go and talk to the geniuses who will give you the laptop. Okay, so they will send me an email, and I will approve it, and before you know it, you'll have a laptop. Okay. So Lauren, also, please keep in touch with me, so I can, keep my thumb on the situation and to make sure that we get you going as quickly as possible. Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Cool. So I'm sorry about the issue. Yeah. So do we have any other questions? Okay. Are we good? Questions?
I had a random non-technical difficulty question.
Sure.
But just like I know we're using VirtualBox, but there's a chance if the VMs are dangerous, like for malware to get out and into the host system. If you were to like mess with this full time as like a job, would it be to like dual boot, so you have your vulnerable OS on like a totally separate drive, so that there's no chance. Or I know, like if it gets in the hardware, it can still jump, I guess. But if you install your OS on a different drive, is it safer because it can't jump to your primary OS?
Well, it does give you a little bit more security because you are sort of physically isolating it, if you know what I mean. The most secure way to do it would be something called air gapping, which is just a fancy name for doing everything on a dedicated hardware machine that is isolated from all of the other machines. It's called air gapping. That's the term they use in industry and military.
Yeah, so, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know what I was thinking. Thank you.
Yeah. Like actually, it's kind of, and in the Pentagon, they used to do something like this because you see, so in Pentagon and like in government in general, they classify data based on the different classifications. So there is, unclassified, confidential, secret, top secret, etc. So what they would do is they would have those different kinds of data on different kinds of networks, and those networks were like physically separated. They were not connected to each other in any way. Now, what about a person that needs access to multiple data classifications? So you would literally see something like this, like you had a person who would be sitting in the middle of this round table, and he would be surrounded by different machines, and each physical machine would be connected to the separate networks, something like that. So I'll try to find that picture.
Yeah, separate machines.
Yeah, it's called air gapping. So let's see. And then because I remember a paper where Intel has partnered up with General Dynamics to sort of develop like a virtualized version of that solution. So if we do Pentagon, let's see, General Dynamics, Intel data classification. I hope that that Google will be smart enough to know what we mean, or not. Let's see, Pentagon, different physical system. Let's see. Yeah, I'll have to do a bit harder looking for that one. But but like that's basically the idea. Yeah, nothing really beats air gapping, because when you're running on on completely separate physical systems, malware has no way to teleport from one to another. So yeah, so dual booting your machine does help a little bit, because if malware gets out of the VM, it will probably first infect your original hard drive. But then again, it can also spread to the second hard drive as well, where you have the other operating system. It'll be a little bit harder, but I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, the attacker who is really serious, it's not hard for them, because a lot of the government sponsored attacks, like the APTs that we talked about, usually you see the way in which they work is, so they would hack your VM, for example, right? And they would run some diagnostics, and then based on the diagnostics, they say, okay, you're running inside a VM. So then they will download the tools onto your VM, which they would need to break out of the VM. And once they break out of your VM and they're in your host system, they will run more diagnostics and say, oh, look, he has another hard drive there, which looks like it has another system. All right, and they may develop the tools needed to infect your second system, and they will do that. Like oftentimes they move low and slow. Like they would make a move, get the diagnostics, do research, and sometimes even develop custom tools to move to their next step. If that makes sense. So now, how likely are you to be a target of a government attack? I mean, probably not very likely, unless of course there are exceptions, but like in general, I don't think that that you will be, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, plus I think the government has the resources to dedicate tons of time and money and skilled people to stuff like that. So you can just work on this problem for however long it takes.
Well, yeah, like, and plus, you got to remember that, the Chinese or the Russian government, I mean, they're not really out there to steal your credit card number. I mean, they're there after, big things. They got a bigger fish to fry. They want to steal, for example, the designs of the next F-fighter. They want to know the design of the next, iPad. They want to be able to foil the electrical grid and things like that. So, you know what I mean? They're not just there to steal your credit card number. They just have so much bigger fish to fry, if you know what I mean.
Or influence your elections. No, but
yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
Sure. Yeah. And when it comes to influencing the election, the biggest threat is social engineering and misinformation. Not hacking the systems.
Yeah, they don't even need to hack. Just have a Facebook account.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's called the human firewalling. So, yeah, I mean, yes, I'm not saying that hacking the voting machines and stuff like that it's something we should be worried about. But I'm saying that there's a much bigger threat of misinformation and social engineering, which can easily alter the outcome of the election without ever typing a single command, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, make sense?
Yeah, interesting stuff. Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Sure. Yep, you have a good one.
See you.
Yep, bye. So, and you have a good weekend too, Race, yeah? Alright. So, alright, folks. So, if nobody has any questions, I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll be putting up a quiz fairly soon. And remember, you can master malware analysis, and peace.